On bonus day, the boss suddenly posted in the company-wide chat. Competition's getting brutal out there. We're changing things up. Starting this year, bonuses are based on performance. Top performers get more, slackers get less. And dead weight gets nothing. The other departments went crazy. Boss is a genius. I'm never leaving this place. Hell yeah. Taking the wife to Hawaii for New Year's. But in our tech department, dead silence. Like our senior engineer looked like he'd been punched in the gut. Boss, there's gotta be a mistake with my bonus. This says $8.88. That's basically nothing. Sarah, one of our junior devs, started tearing up. Yeah, boss. My mom needs this money for her surgery. Can you please check? Jake, the hothead of the group, slammed his desk and jumped up. Mistake? You guys didn't see what the boss just said. He's talking about us. $8.88? That won't even buy a sandwich downstairs. What are we, beggars? My phone buzzed. Private message from the boss. Tech department's performance was lacking this year. But out of goodwill, we're giving everyone $8.88. Your team needs to step up next year. All 15 of us, from the veterans to the newbies, got the same insulting amount. Meanwhile, every other department was celebrating like they'd won the lottery. The technical backbone of this whole company. We're on call. 24/7. Handle every request. Pull all-nighters constantly and work ourselves into the ground. And we're the department with the least contribution. The room felt suffocating. I could hear one of the younger engineers crying quietly. I clenched my fists so hard my knuckles turned white.
Took a deep breath.
I'm getting to the bottom of this. We're getting what we deserve. I shot up and headed straight for the boss's office. The boss's office was like a party. People from finance, planning, and marketing were crowded inside, kissing his ass and promising eternal loyalty. Their big smiles made my scowl look even darker. The second I walked in, his smile vanished. All right, everyone, back to work. Let's finish strong before the holidays. After they left, he waved at a chair. What's up? Not happy with your bonus? I tried to keep my voice steady. You're right. It's not fair. If bonuses are based on contribution, then tech department should stop. He cut me off, taking a slow sip of tea. Clearly that message I sent you was pointless. You've been a manager for how long now? And you still don't get it? Your team's bonus sucks, and instead of looking in the mirror, you come storming in here complaining about fairness. Anger flashed through me. Perspective. Always about perspective. Earlier this year, during raises, everyone got a bump. Everyone except tech. Not a single penny. When I asked why, he had it all figured out. Your department already makes more on average than the others. If we raise it more, it'll cause problems and mess up company morale. Damn your management.
Now.
Think bigger picture. Just wait till year end. I'll make sure your team gets a fat bonus. I won't let you down.
Sure.
Our salaries were higher than some departments. That don't bring in revenue. But compared to industry standards for our skills, we were getting screwed. He'd been dangling the promise of a raise every single year. And this time, because he promised huge year-end bonuses, we all sucked it up and took it. Swallowed my anger. Back then, we skipped the salary adjustment because you promised us bigger bonuses. At year-end, you said everyone would be satisfied.
Clang.
He slammed his teacup down, splashing hot tea everywhere. Sam, watch your tone. The company has evaluation methods. The market's rough right now. Things change, so obviously the bonus structure has to change. The market was rough, but our company was doing great. And every other department got paid handsomely. That was no excuse for giving us a joke of a bonus. He didn't let me respond, just sighed dramatically. Do you have any idea how bad this looks? You barging in here like this? Everyone from finance and planning just saw you. If I let this slide, does that mean anyone can just storm in and yell at me? If everyone acted like you, how would this company even function? I stared him down, teeth clenched. I'm willing to reflect. But first, you need to pay our department what we actually earned. He slammed the table. Everyone says you're this honest. Straight shooter guy. Guess that was all bullshit. Does being a good person mean I deserve to get screwed? When they hired me, they promised at least 5% annual raises. In all my years here, that's never happened. The best we ever got was 3%. Every time, same excuse. Make it up when performance improves. Year after year, the company rode the AI boom to record profits. But for us in tech, our salaries stayed flat. Dead in the water.
Screwed.
I've been more than fair with you. Let's be real, Sam. What does based on contribution mean? Your department just writes some code and fixes bugs.
Real contribution is that.
The fact that I gave you $8 each shows how generous I am. Write some code, fix bugs. All those sleepless nights. All that effort we poured into elegant solutions. To him, it was worthless garbage. My face turned red with rage. I ripped my ID badge off and threw it on his desk. That's not what you said. When the company expansion depended on us pulling all-nighters. You called us your strongest technical support. You said without us, none of the new deals could happen. So how come when it's time to pay up, we're suddenly the most useless department? You think you can just use us and throw us away? We're done putting up with this. Kicked over his trash can and stormed out, slamming the door. As I left, I saw people ducking back into their cubicles. They'd all been watching. I didn't care that I was the office drama. All I could think about was how I'd face my team. They were my people. They followed me, worked crazy hours without complaint, driven by passion and trust in me. And I couldn't even get them a basic bonus. My eyes stung. We need to talk. Mr. Davies, the VP blocked my path. It started here, the same time I did. An early veteran. He ran HR and was usually calm and reasonable. He closed his office door behind us, shaking his head. Was that really necessary? I looked up, shocked. Necessary? Mr. Davies, my team is counting on that money to get through the holidays. Mike's mom is 80. He promised to take her to DC after he got his bonus. Sarah's mom needs that money for surgery. And Jake. The company isn't a charity, Sam. We have procedures. We can't just hand out money because someone has personal problems. He said it so casually, like it was nothing. Fine. Let's not talk about personal problems. I pulled out a chair and sat down, face like stone. Let's talk about contribution. You said bonuses are based on contribution. The results say our department contributed nothing this year. I opened my laptop and pulled up the sales team's work. Orders? This year's sales brought in 20 new enterprise clients. That meant 20 new custom software systems to support them. If you'd outsourced development for these systems, each one would have cost at least $250,000. That's $5 million total, not including ongoing maintenance. Our tech department has 15 people, making an average of $72,000 a year. Our total payroll is just over $1 million. On development alone, we saved the company at least $4 million this year. And that's not counting the ongoing value these systems create. You call that no contribution? Mr. Davies had nothing to say. After a long pause, he scrambled for an excuse. Well, nobody said you made no contribution, but your department salaries are higher on average than others. I laughed bitterly. AI is the hottest field in the world right now. Other companies are offering fresh grads with zero experience. $200,000 starting salaries. My team is experienced, and every single one has a top-tier degree. Yet they make less than half what a rookie makes elsewhere. And you call that high? I pulled up the attendance records.
Fine.
You're worried about internal harmony. Let's talk hourly wage. There were 249 working days in 2025. Our team averaged 350 days. We even worked through Thanksgiving, sleeping in the office to launch a client's new system. And on those 350 days, the earliest anyone left was 8 p.m. Latest? There was no latest. For 100 of those days, we worked straight through the night. That's over 5,900 hours per person, based on a $72,000 salary. Our hourly wage is $12. I let that sink in, then delivered the final blow. $12 an hour? The barista at Starbucks makes $22. When you work overtime, the company provides dinner and snacks. We don't neglect you. Dinner and snacks? With a budget of less than $10 per person, we have to pay out of pocket every time just to get a decent meal. My voice shook with rage. Mr. Davies' expression hardened. Sam, you can't just focus on your own contributions. You need to compare. Finance and planning contributed way more. I stood up, practically rolling my eyes. What contribution? Denying expense reports.
Oh, right.
Our department submitted 50 grand in legitimate expenses this year. That never got reimbursed. Boss's niece, who runs finance, just refused to approve them for no reason. I guess that saved the company money. And planning run by the boss's other relative, who couldn't get into a local college, some fake degree overseas, and came back as a director. They spent the year making vlogs and forced us to build a useless app. Last month they used the wrong photos in a presentation and lost us a major client. That's what you call contribution. The more I talked, the angrier I got. And your department, HR. All you do is make PowerPoints and find people for. Got to clock in. $200.
Fine.
Messy desk. $200. Didn't say hi to the boss in the hallway? $300. I laughed bitterly. Incredible. All of you. Such great contributors. Since this company won't pay us what we earned, don't ever expect us to work for free again. We may be honest, but we're not stupid. Even idiots know when they've been lied to enough times. I ignored the ugly look on Mr. Davies' face and walked out. I heard a chair crash behind me. So much for his calm, reasonable act. Only lasted as long as his own interests weren't threatened. Deep down, I knew he had a hand in this year's bonus disaster. I bet my life on it. When I got back to the department, 14 pairs of hopeful eyes turned to me. A lump formed in my throat. I opened my mouth but couldn't speak. Mike forced a smile that couldn't hide the pain. My mom's getting old. Her legs aren't great. We'll skip DC this year. The bonus for. Get it? Sarah wiped her eyes. Everyone just chipped in and gave me some money. It's enough for my mom's first surgery. They swallowed their disappointment, their tears, their sense of betrayal. My fists clenched tighter. The conversations with the boss and Mr. Davies echoed in my head. Then another conversation surfaced. When I wasn't supposed to hear. My cousin's son just got his master's. And he's back from overseas. He's bringing a whole team. You need to clear out tech and make room. Perfect timing. They won't take this bonus insult. They'll quit on their own. And we won't have to pay severance. Plus, I've got one more trick. They'll be begging to leave. They thought I'd already left the executive area, but I dropped my glasses and went back for them. And I heard their whole disgusting plan. This time I said, my voice rough, we can't just let this go. My eyes held the fierce determination of an honest man pushed too far. Why should good people always get screwed? The silence in the tech department wasn't the stunned silence of earlier. It was the heavy, static-charged silence of a storm front moving in. I looked at the 14 faces before me. Jake, vibrating with adrenaline. Sarah, wiping her eyes but looking at me with new steel in her gaze. Mike, the old warhorse, leaning back in his chair, his arms crossed over his chest. They want us to quit, I said, my voice low. They want to replace us with the boss's cousin's son. Some kid fresh out of grad school with a team of cronies. And the boss has a trick coming to make us beg to leave, so they don't have to pay severance. Let them fire us, Jake spat. I'll take the unemployment checks and burn this place down on Glassdoor. No, I said. If we get fired for performance, it hurts our records. If we quit, they win. We need to leave on our terms. And we need to make sure that when we walk out that door, the ghost of this department haunts them forever. Mike leaned forward, a dark grin spreading across his face. Legacy code. Exactly, I nodded. We handle everything. The servers, the databases, the API integrations, the chaotic spaghetti code that connects the sales platform to the warehouse. We know where the bodies are buried because we buried them to keep this company alive. I walked to the whiteboard and picked up a red marker. From this moment on, we are working strictly by the book. Malicious compliance. If a ticket isn't filed correctly, reject it. If the documentation isn't perfect, send it back. No more overtime. No more fixing things on the fly. And most importantly, I wrote a single word on the board. Obfuscation. We stop commenting our code. We stop updating the wiki. We start refactoring the core modules into logic so complex that only the person who wrote it can understand it. If they want to replace us with a cheaper, nepotistic team, let's see if that team can fly a plane that's been rewired in midair. Sarah raised her hand. What about the trick the boss mentioned? Whatever it is, I said, we take it. We smile. And we wait for New Year's Eve. The trick landed 2 days later. It was a Monday morning. We were all called into the conference room. The boss was there, looking smug, along with Davies from HR. We've been reviewing the metrics, Davies said, sliding a stack of papers across the table. As we discussed, the tech department is underperforming. Therefore, effective immediately, the entire department is being placed on a performance improvement plan. A PIP. The corporate death sentence. It was designed to create a paper trail to fire someone with cause. You will have daily check-ins, the boss added, checking his Rolex. You will log every minute of your activity. You will complete all backlog tickets by the end of the month. If you fail, you will be terminated without severance. He expected an explosion. He expected Jake to flip a table or me to scream. Instead, I picked up the paper, skimmed it, and smiled. Understood, I said. We appreciate the structure. We'll get right on it. The boss blinked. His smile faltered.
Right. Well, get to it.
For the next 3 weeks, we were the perfect employees. We arrived exactly at 9 a.m. We left exactly at 5 p.m. When the boss demanded we stay late to fix a glitch in the finance reporting software, I showed him the PIP agreement. Sorry, boss. The PIP requires us to manage our time efficiently. Working overtime would indicate poor time management. We'll tackle it tomorrow morning. When the sales VP screamed that the website was lagging, Mike sent him a 40-page form. Please fill out this bug report in triplicate as per the new efficiency protocols commanded by HR. We didn't fix the lag. We didn't patch the servers. We let the entropy build. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, we were building something else. We called it Project 888. It wasn't a virus. That would be illegal. It was simply house cleaning. We removed all our personal scripts, the little automations we had written to keep the servers running smoothly. We encrypted our personal notes. We reset the root passwords to random strings that were technically stored in the secure vault, but buried under thousands of folders with names like system_logs_2019_backup_v4. We were stripping the house of its furniture before the new tenants arrived. 1 week before Christmas, the new team arrived for the handover. The boss introduced them like royalty. "This is Kevin," he said, patting the shoulder of a young man in a tailored suit who looked like he'd never touched a command line in his life. "And his associates. They'll be shadowing you." Kevin looked at us with a sneer. "So, you guys are the legacy team? I hear your stack is pretty archaic. We're planning a full migration to the cloud with AI-driven architecture." Jake looked at me. I could see a vein throbbing in his forehead. "That sounds ambitious," I said calmly. "The system is all yours." For the next week, we trained them. "How does the payment gateway work?" Kevin's lead developer asked. "It works great," Sarah said, smiling sweetly. "Just don't touch the legacy_process_v2 JS file." "Why?" "Oh, you'll figure it out. You guys are the experts, right?" We watched them install their AI tools and mess with configurations. They had no idea that our system was a delicate house of cards held together by our constant vigilance. On December 30th, the boss called me into his office. "Sam," he said, leaning back, "the transition is going better than expected. Kevin tells me they're ready to take over fully on January 1st. "That's great news," I said. "So," he slid a document across the desk. "This is your resignation. Sign it, and I'll give you a generous recommendation letter. Refuse, and we fire you on the PIP violations on January 2nd. Your choice." I looked at the paper. Then I looked at him. "I'll sign," I said. "But I want one thing." "What?" "I want the $8.88 in cash. Framed. For every member of my team." The boss laughed. A loud, booming laugh. "You tech guys are so weird." "Fine. Whatever." December 31st. New Year's Eve. The entire office was buzzing. The sales team was popping champagne. The boss was already in his vacation wear, ready for his flight to Hawaii. At 2 p.m., the tech department gathered in the lobby. We had our boxes. We had our framed $8.88 bills. The boss actually did it, thinking it was a joke. Kevin and his crew were sitting at our desks, laughing, drinking coffee, and looking at the monitors that showed green status lights. "Don't worry, old timers," Kevin shouted across the room. "We got it from here. Enjoy unemployment." I stopped at the glass doors. I looked back at the server room one last time. "Mike," I whispered, "did you turn off the cron jobs?" "The garbage collection scripts are disabled," Mike whispered back. "The logs will fill up the hard drives in approximately 48 hours. "Jake, the load balancer is set to default. If traffic spikes more than 10%, it'll cap the bandwidth." "Sarah, I removed the API keys for the third-party inventory system from the cache. They'll expire at midnight." I smiled. "Let's go get a sandwich." We walked out of the building. We didn't look back. New Year's Day was peaceful. I slept in until noon. January 2nd was the first working day of the year. The company was launching its massive New Year, New You sale. It was the biggest revenue day of the year. My phone started ringing at 9:15 a.m. It was Davies. I let it go to voicemail.
9:20 a.m.
The boss. Voicemail.
9:30 a.m.
Kevin. Voicemail. By 10 a.m., my phone was vibrating so constantly it was practically dancing across the table. I picked it up and put it in a drawer. I met the team at a local diner. We ordered the most expensive breakfast on the menu. We were unemployed, but we felt lighter than air. Jake was watching the company's website on his tablet. "Here it comes," he grinned. On the screen, the website was loading. Then a white screen. 502 bad gateway. And boom goes the dynamite, Mike chuckled, dipping toast into his yolk. At the office, as we later learned, it was pandemonium. The sales surge had hit the servers. Because Mike had disabled the auto-scaling scripts, which were custom written by us and not part of the official documentation, the servers didn't spin up new instances. They choked. When Kevin tried to reboot them, the load balancer reset to its default settings, throttling traffic to a crawl. Then the inventory system tried to sync. The API keys were expired. The system threw an error, but because Sarah had removed the error handling patch she wrote 3 years ago, the error caused a recursive loop. The logs filled up the hard drives within hours. The entire digital infrastructure of the company froze. Orders were being lost. Credit cards were being charged, but no receipts were generated. The warehouse system went dark, meaning no one knew what to ship. The boss, who had just landed in Hawaii, was screaming into his phone so loud that the hotel staff threatened to call the police. At 4 p.m., a black Mercedes pulled up to the diner. It was Davies. He looked like he hadn't slept in a week, even though it had only been a day. He spotted us through the window and rushed in. "Sam," he gasped, ignoring the waitress. "You have to come back." I took a slow sip of coffee. "Mr. Davies, I don't work for you. I resigned. You have the paperwork." "The system is down," Davies hissed. "Everything. We're losing $50,000 an hour. Kevin can't fix it. He says someone sabotaged the code." Sabotage. I raised an eyebrow. That's a serious accusation. We left the code exactly as it was. We didn't delete a single line. If Kevin can't understand the architecture, that sounds like a competence issue. "Sam, please," Davies was sweating. "The boss is going to kill me. Just come fix it. We'll pay you for the day." "I'm not interested in day labor," I said. "Double time?"
No.
"What do you want?" Davies shrieked. I wiped my mouth with a napkin and stood up. I signaled to the team. They all stood up with me. "We are a consulting firm now," I said. "We charge by the project."
Fine.
"How much?" I pulled a folded napkin from my pocket. I had written a number on it. I slid it across the table. Davies looked at it. His eyes bulged. $2 million? Are you insane?" "That's for the restoration of services," I said. "Plus an hourly rate of $500 per engineer for ongoing maintenance until you find a competent replacement team. And a formal apology from the boss, in writing, sent to the entire company. He'll never agree to that." "Then enjoy the 502 bad gateway," Jake said, putting on his coat. "Come on, guys. Let's go see a movie." We walked out. Davies stood there, trembling. 2 hours later, my phone rang again.
It was a video call.
I answered. It was the boss. He was in a hotel room in Hawaii, his face purple with rage. "You son of a bitch," he screamed. "You rigged it." "I didn't rig anything," I said calmly. "I drove that car for 5 years. I knew how to shift the gears to keep it moving. You fired the driver and gave the keys to a kid with a learner's permit. The engine blew. That's on you. I will sue you." "For what?" I asked. "Review the logs. Did we delete data?
No.
Did we insert malicious code?
No.
We simply stopped doing the extra work you never paid us for. We stopped being the dead weight you complained about." "Fix it," he growled. "Or I swear." $2 million, I said. "Contract is in your email. Sign it, wire the funds, and we'll have the lights back on in 4 hours." "I don't have that kind of liquidity." "Then you better call finance," I said. "Oh wait, that's your niece. Maybe she can help." I hung up. The standoff lasted 12 hours. We estimated the company lost about $1.5 million in sales, plus the reputational damage. Clients were furious. At 3 a.m., my phone pinged. Bank notification. Wire transfer received. $2 million. Followed by an email from the boss. A PDF with a scribbled signature. And a second email, CC to the whole company. To all staff. There was a misunderstanding regarding the tech department's contribution. They are vital to this organization. We humbly ask for their assistance in resolving the current technical difficulties. It was the most humiliating thing he'd ever written. We walked back into the office at 4 a.m. Kevin and his team were slumped in chairs, looking defeated. The office smelled like fear and stale Red Bull. "Get out of our chairs," Jake said. Kevin didn't argue. He scrambled up and backed away. We sat down. It was like muscle memory. "Mike, clear the logs and restart the cron jobs," I ordered. "On it." "Sarah, re-authenticate the API keys and push the inventory patch."
Done.
"Jake, release the load balancer caps and spin up 3 more AWS instances." "With pleasure." I opened the main command terminal. I typed in the decryption key for our documentation, not that we needed it, but to prove a point. It took us 3 hours to untangle the mess Kevin had made. By 7 a.m., the servers were humming. The website was live. The orders started flowing in again. We watched the monitors as the sales numbers ticked up. "God, we're good," Jake whispered. "Yeah," I said. "We are." At 8 a.m., Davies walked in. He looked like a ghost. "Is it fixed?" "It's fixed," I said. "For now." "What do you mean for now?" "We're consultants, remember?" I tapped the contract. "Our retainer is for 30 days. After that, you're on your own. Unless you want to renew." The aftermath was brutal for them and glorious for us. The board of directors got wind of the $2 million emergency expenditure. They started asking questions. Why did the system crash? Why was the veteran team fired? Why was the replacement team composed of fresh grads with higher salaries than the veterans? They audited the department. They found the nepotism. They found the planning department's vlogs. They found the expense reports rejected by the boss's niece. 3 months later, the boss was asked to retire early. Davies was transferred to a satellite office in Nebraska. Kevin and his team were let go. As for us, we took the $2 million. We split it 15 ways. That was roughly $133,000 each. A hell of a lot more than $8.88. But we didn't stop there. We knew the company's tech stack was still a mess, and now they had no one. So, we made them a new offer. We formed our own company, 888 Solutions. We offered to manage their IT infrastructure as an external vendor. The price? $3 million a year. The new CEO, a sensible woman brought in from the outside to clean up the mess, looked at the numbers. She looked at the cost of hiring and training a whole new internal team. She looked at our track record. She signed the deal. 1 year later, I walked into the office of 888 Solutions. It was a converted warehouse, open plan, with good lighting and better coffee. Jake was arguing with a client on the phone, but he was smiling. Sarah was leading a code review with 2 new hires, kids we paid fairly and treated with respect. Mike was asleep on a beanbag chair, but I knew he'd been up all night fixing a critical bug for a client in Tokyo. On the wall near the entrance, framed in gold, were 15 bills. $8.88. They weren't an insult anymore. They were a trophy, a reminder of what we were worth, and what happens when you try to treat skilled labor like dead weight. I sat at my desk and opened my laptop. A notification popped up. A message from our old company. Ticket number 4092, server latency high. Please assist. I smiled, took a sip of my coffee, paid for by the company, not out of pocket, and typed a reply. Acknowledged. Consultant rate applies. We're on it. We weren't beggars. We weren't dead weight. We were the backbone. And finally, the world knew the price of breaking it.